Sup gamers? Welcome back to another free-to-play Ultimate Iron Man Progress video. Before we get into it, we got a couple of beast GZs to give out. First is to Petey McFly on 99 Fishing and 99 Magic. Beast accomplishment. You should definitely check him out on Twitch by the same name. Next I want to give another beast GZ to Key Basher on 200 mil smithing XP, locking himself in as the ranked 3 record holder for smithing years between all accounts, including free-to-play and pay-to-play. Beast. And last but not least, I want to give a huge GZ to Nice Wario on achieving 99 rune crafting on his free-to-play hardcore. Dude's been rune crafting for as long as I can remember. Such a beast achievement. Good luck on that grind. I just want to give a quick reminder that if anyone ever wants to celebrate a little skilling achievement with a party, I always encourage it. It's always fun to get the gang together. Plus, you'll make the next video, potentially. And then, not to toot my own horn, but here's the clip of me getting my most recent 99, that being 99 Strength. This is my 5th 99, and probably the last 99 I'll be getting for at least a couple months to maybe the rest of the year. Reason is because, let's see here. So last video, I talked about finishing up combat smithing, which meant that I was going to be getting around 98 smithing so that I could be done with telegrabbing and get the rest of my smithing through crafting. After I got 99 strength though, I figured that base 90s wasn't too far away, and I wanted to go for that just because I feel like base 90s would just be a really cool thing to have. Plus, it'd be nice for the rest of my melees and fishing and all that to have like a really good base runecrafting level so that all my XP randoms would give like better XP. So that's sort of the goal I've been going towards. Essentially, the only 4 I had left was prey runecrafting, attack, and defense. So after this, I got my attack up to 90, and I'm currently working on getting my defense to 90. The whole time doing the combat smith method of killing Obor, telegrabbing with the law runes, and then superheating with the nature runes. And that's probably what I'm going to be doing, at least for the next couple months. I wanted to actually put this video out at base 90, but base 90, at least the next rune crafting level is going to take me like a month on its own. So I figured I'd put out a video after I get base 89, or at least 90 or 89 prey and rune crafting, which I just got a couple weeks ago. And yeah, this is something that's probably going to take me a little while. I think I'll be able to get 90 defense, 90 prey, 90 runecraft some point in July, I'm thinking. And then from there, I will be continuing on with the combat smithing, and I'll be doing that until I'm done with it. Hopefully. There's always a chance that there's some distractions will come up. But sort of on a similar topic to that, this has actually been a pretty good like last 12 months or so of skilling for me. Big mark of that is that I finally hit my first 1000 EHP year on Temple. I hit that some point, I think it was like the first week of April. I finally got that, which is pretty cool. I've never done a 1K year, so it was sort of something that like I wanted to do at some point to join the 4-digit gang. Obviously, there's a lot of a lot of people who play way more than I do and are able to hit like 2 or 3,000 EP years, but it's a pretty cool achievement. I'm pretty proud of. I really don't see myself playing more than this until I'm sending like 99 rune crafting and I can just do that AFK method all day every day. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with trying to maintain the 1K year. I don't even know if I'll be able to maintain it. I could probably drop down to like a 9 or 800. But yeah, I think it's a pretty cool thing, and if I keep this pace up, then I'll be able to match just around December of 2026 with doing the 1K year. Previously, I was using like the 750 year as like my average, and so that's what put me at like the end of 2027 for like the matching time frame, whatever. But yeah, this is all assuming that there are no major updates that change anything between then and now. Speaking of updates, you'll probably remember from my last video that I talked about the kind of forecast of updates being pretty good in terms of free to play stuff. And by that, I meant that there wasn't seemingly any updates coming to free to play, which would have been good because then, there wouldn't have been any big method changes or EHP changes or whatever. And that's still true for the most part, but there are a few updates that have happened. Updates and, blog posts and polls and stuff that might be changing free to play depending on sort of how the game looks in the future. So first of these is the rat boss, Sturius. So if you remember, when they first talked about rat boss in the game jam in early 2023, they had mentioned that the boss was going to be free to play. Then they, in the next update that they talked about, that in a live stream a couple months later, they mentioned that it was going to be pay to play only. And then finally, a few months before release, they confirmed it was going to be pay to play only. But you can definitely see how this boss could very easily be turned into free to play at some point in the future. Mostly because the boss layer is right in the Varrock sewers. All of the drops are pretty free to play compatible, minus a couple random food items or whatever. Um, the the rat bone whip weapon that you make from the rune mace, I mean that's something that could be pretty easily done in free to play. So this is sort of a weird thing that it might come into the game, it might not. It's really gonna depend on if some random on Reddit makes a post oh, why isn't this free to play? And then a JMod is yeah, sure, why not? But the reason why we sort of worry about it is just because of the mechanic to turn the extra rat spines into the NPC that stands outside his boss lair for prayer XP. So besides the XP rate on just the melee XP rate in there being crazy already, there's this mechanic that you can get a ton of potential. I think it's 5,000 prayer XP per rat spine you turn into this guy. And even doing some really basic research into the kind of kills per hour people are getting here, there's a very, very good chance that you'd be able to get 3 or more rat spines per hour, which if they're 5k each, then that means that prayer could potentially be at 15k an hour or more. And that's pretty bad because right now the whole meta with prayer is to do double hot boneyard, and that barely gives 15, 16k. Most people can't even get those rates, so they usually get lower, me included. So if this boss ever did become the free to play, that would be a pretty huge change. If that's the prey meta to 200 mil, then it would be very likely that that's just what you would do. You would just do all of your melees there, killing the boss, getting the law runes. It would probably drop enough law runes to get a decent amount of telegrabbing, superheat smithing done. But obviously, no one's really done that intense of the math, just because for the most part, it doesn't seem like it's going to be made free to play. And luckily, this is actually something that somebody tweeted about it to Mod Ash, and Mod Ash was even yeah, we really aren't thinking that this is going to be free to play anytime soon, if ever. So yeah, we're hoping for that. So another update that has sort of been on our radar recently is the fact that the Draenor Village Agility course is now a level 1 requirement. Now, the reason why this is sort of weird and something that we're sort of watching out for now is because part of the reason why free to play agility was never a thing was because, I mean, for a variety of other reasons, that you couldn't train level 1 to 10 within the free to play area because you had to go all the way out to that gnome stronghold place, whatever. But with Draenor Village now being in a free to play area, and with that being something that could easily be done, it seems like that maybe down the line agility will become free to play. This would be interesting to see. Just right now, there's really only 4 courses that free to players can do, or at least that are in the free to play area: Draenor, Alcarid, Varrock, and Falador. Falador being the fastest, which I think from what I can find online, it's only like 25k an hour to train there. So this would be a pretty slow skill in the scheme of things. It'd be like 600 hours to 99, be like 9,000 hours to 200 mil, like crazy amount of time to train. Um, but the flip side of that would be that it would really greatly increase like the rates of any skill that requires a lot of running, like rune crafting, like boneyard prayer, like just regular smithing and crafting. So we'll have to see if they ever decide to make any changes like that. I know people like Tanardino have already like done some testing of like what some free to play red methods at the Faldor course could look like. Um, but yeah, just something to keep our eyes out for. It's one of those things that like again, if some random redditor makes a good enough argument for it to be free to play, I could see Jagex like potentially pulling it, especially because free to play didn't get sailing either, so maybe they're gonna be like, oh, well, free to play wants a new steal anyway, but we'll see. And then I guess the final update that has sort of caught our eye recently is the defense changes that they're going to be making to a lot of NPCs, and in particular, the elemental weaknesses. So apparently, a lot of monsters throughout the whole game have had elemental weaknesses for a while, and we just never knew about them. But Jagex is going to be increasing, or I just rather like decreasing their defense to a lot of these elementals for different NPCs. Notably in free to play, it would be ice giants and ice warriors, which should now, I think they said that instead of like a 50% elemental weakness to fire, it'd be like 100%. Now this is kind of a big DPS change potentially. People like Automelgy have been saying that you can hit like 32s on ice giants with fire blast if this method comes out, which that could be like a crazy fast like DPS, even if it is 5 tick. I mean, you look at the DPS that you can get with like 4 tick rune scimitar, max hit of like 26, 25. So it could definitely be a pretty big thing. I mean, as the current meta stands, magic is still zero time, but could be worth using up like a bunch of death runes there after you get 99 ranged, especially if you do defensive casting, so that you can get like a decent amount of defense at SP2. That could potentially be like a pretty good thing to do. Because if you do that after 99 range, then you could have like a pretty decent magic and defense level going into like telegrabbing. So interesting. Definitely something that we'll test out once it comes out. But I don't know if there's a release date for that yet. So again, it's just wait and see. So other than that, there's really not a whole lot to talk about for this video. Um, this account has gotten to the point where progress is very slow, milestones are very slow, and take a long time to reach. So because this video is pretty short so far, I'll take a second and I want to introduce some of the alt accounts that I make. I know I've sort of talked about a few of these in the past, but because the rune crafting method I do is super AFK, I often get bored doing that, and I'll usually be able to fill that like boredom gap with like a random alt account. So yeah, I figured I'd show off the accounts that I play if anyone's interested. So I'll start off with the alt account I play the most. This is my free-to-play Alcarid locked account. I'll call it Alcoholic. Essentially, this is exactly as it sounds. It's an area locked, and I just enjoy playing it because the stealing methods here in the desert are sort of fun. You have like the hill giants, which get you all your melees, and also a lot of the runes and arrows you need for ranged and magic, plus all the bones for prayer XP. Beyond that, there are good mine locations for silver and iron, which is how I've trained crafting and smithing on this account. You also have the shrimping spot right next to the bank for pretty easy fishing cooking. And there's actually no trees in the desert, so I can't train woodcutting, but there's a log spawn in the Cythereid Abbey, So I've gotten a bit of fire making down that way. And of course, there's no way to get rune essence or a fire talisman, so there's no way to train rune crafting. Quickly to the bank. It's really not much going on here. I'm training a bit of smithing right now. That's why I have the iron bars in my bank. I want to get 75 for the adamant scimitar, which is best in slot. But otherwise, yeah. There's the adamant plate leg and plate skirt shop, but all the other armor pieces you have to make yourself. I have good enough stuff for mithril, but I'm working on getting at least adamant scimitar, as I said. All these runes are from hill giants for the most part. Air runes, there's no way to get them in the desert, so those all just come from random events or beginner clues. Let's see here. I try to just keep all the gems I get from random events, just in case I ever need them for anything. Bronze pickaxe is the best pickaxe in the desert, unless you get a steel or black pickaxe from beginner clues. Leather armor for ranged. Crafting's actually pretty interesting in the desert. There's no way to train 1 to 5 with like cow hides or whatever, unless you range the cows across the fence and telegrab their hide, which is what I ended up doing. And so that's how I got the gear for ranging, as well as I have an extra leather and a needle and thread I use for leather mining sometimes. I have one of all the amulets, but I don't have the magic level yet to enchant the strength of the power ammy. Magic's a weird skill because without an air staff or a lot of air runes, it's sort of tough to train magic. What I've sort of been doing so far is killing hill giants and then superheating with the nature runes, and then occasionally, if I build up a good earthen stack, I'll curse splash on either hill giants or something with them. Earth runes you can only get from killing the Alcarid guards, or the Alcarid warriors, so that's how I got those. I think I got a few from maze randoms as well. And then otherwise, yeah, some shrimp and anchovies from fishing, a few random items from imps. I was killing imps because imps are the only way you can get balls of wool, and that's how you can make the amulets. So I've been doing those. And yeah, otherwise just a bunch of random junk in here, all the random red items. But yeah, it's a pretty fun account. Well, I want to get 75 smithing for the scimitar, and then I think it'd be cool to eventually make my own power amulet and maybe even get Matt's melees at some point. We'll see. This is one of my general alt accounts. I made two of them, alt 1 and alt 2 Iden. Essentially, I originally made these two accounts just for random things that would require me to have an alt. Things like Dual Arena Run Restore, or lighting fires, or just general stuff like that. A little while ago, though, I had this idea that I wanted to make a Gatherer only free to play Red account. Mostly because the Gatherer skills look pretty cool for free to play Reds, and especially 2-tick oaks. So I figured I would make an account to give them a try. I would have used Alt 1, but Alt 1 Iden already had some fire making SP from lighting fires, so I used Alt 2 because they didn't have any skills trained on it. And yeah, this is something I've been playing a bit more recently, but I've sort of done everything I've wanted to do already. Maybe I'll do some like cake mining or something in the future, but um, yeah, for the most part, just sort of fun, another side account to play, and I've been enjoying the time I have on it. It's especially nice playing a red because sometimes I forget how easy it is to just go to GE and buy stuff. This is also the account that I will use to drop trade over any like boss drops that I get on the UIM. For example, like Obor clubs only high out for like 40k, but they're worth like a mil at least, or at least like a couple 100,000 GP. So I'll usually drop it over this account, and it's just nice to have GP for random stuff. Next up is my Fresh Start account named Fresh Iden. This was an account I made during the Fresh Start Worlds when they came out. It seemed like kind of a cool idea because Fresh Start came with free-to-play worlds that I would want to go for like rank 1 Obor in like Fresh Start or whatever. So I made this account, got some basic stats up, killed a bit of hill giants, but after a while, sort of got bored of the concept and didn't play it for like the rest of Fresh Start. But then, sort of recently, I figured that it'd be kind of smart to have a random higher combat alt account to play, just for like random things that would never require that on an Iron Man. Right now, there really aren't many. There are a couple sort of neat melee methods you can do, especially with like having an alt wake up the golems in the Camdozel area. But yeah, this is something I really haven't played until recently. But yeah, I mean, I haven't even completed Dragon Slayer on it, so I'm rocking the Adamant plate body right now. Too lazy to do questing, so maybe I'll get around to it, maybe I won't. But yeah, that sort of concludes the all accounts that I play. There are one or two others that are around. For example, there's the pay to play group Iron Man I played for a while, which that's the account that I bond up every time like Leeds comes out. Like that's the account I played like the free to play Leeds account with. Other than that, only other accounts I've ever really had for old school have been my first Red account I ever made, which got hacked, and then my one account that I made for that free to play like hardcore PvP tournament that happened a couple years ago. But yeah, it just I don't know. I think it's sort of nice to play an alt account sometimes. Obviously, I don't want to play an account if it like takes away from playing the main UIM. But it is nice to have something to do on the side, like especially when you have like a low level new account and like all the achievements come pretty quickly and all the levels come in quickly, which is nice. But some people really like playing alts and will have like 8 different alt accounts they play at once. Others will never play an alt and just only ever play their main. So I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence of how much I want to play an alt, especially like thinking about like down the line of like when I would be able to play an alt a lot. Right now, the best time for me to play an alt is during AFK Earth Rune Crafting on the UIM, just because it's like so AFK. But if I ever want to do something that's like more intensive in the long term, or if like the rune crafting method changes so that that AFK method isn't like worth doing at all, then maybe I'll stop playing the alts. But for the most part, I'm just gonna keep playing them whenever I feel like playing them and enjoying them when I want to enjoy them. Anyway, that's I think all I really got for today. Thanks for sticking around. I think I'll try to do these videos every 3 months. Has been sort of like the usual cadence. So yeah, maybe in July after I get base 90s, I'll make another video to celebrate that. And yeah, just a quick reminder, if you got any big stealing achievements coming up and you want to have a party and maybe get featured in these videos, definitely feel free to. I think parties are always fun, no matter how many people show up. And otherwise, yeah, again, thanks for watching. Try to catch me on Twitch. I'm trying to stream at least twice a week, but I've been pretty bad about it recently. And other than that, we'll see you all in the next one.